Okay, so today is a very important day in terms of understanding the brain because brain has waves. So we'll first come into what is a wave because it's part of physics. So if we see what we are and how we are, it's just waves. When I see you or anyone, there's a wave which passes from one to another just like in infrared or whatever. So we have waves. The photon, like we saw yesterday, behaves as particles and waves. It should be something as a wave. So if we take main types of wave, so then we can say mechanical waves, which can be electromagnetic or quantum waves and gravitational waves. These are three waves what we can look from a mechanical perspective. And by motion, we can have transverse, longitudinal, and surface waves. Okay. Now, there are different classification. In Dharma also there is classification. So when we classify something, it means it is boxed. So in a wave also there is something that is boxed. So what's a wave? A wave is a disturbance or an oscillation that transfers energy from one medium to another medium. So basically, neurons also have waves. You transfer information. Okay. So usually it is done on a space time and it doesn't have to transfer the matter. It's just energy moving from one medium to another medium. So when we say a wave like this, we can call it a sinusoidal wave. It's still a wave. So heart rhythm is sinusoidal, which means it goes up and comes down and goes up. So it's called sinus because it is based upon trigonometry, sine. So this is where we require to know the mathematics. Otherwise, we might not understand many things which are so nice to understand, to experience. Anyway, so there's amplitude and there's a crest. So if you take a wave, the top portion is a crest. There's an amplitude where you have a frequency. Then you have trough, which goes down. And between two waves, there is a length. It's called wavelength and always measured in lambda. So the wavelength is the distance between successive crest. You're comparing the crest and trough. It goes like this. And what's the meaning of an amplitude is the maximum amount of displacement from equilibrium. So you have flat line. So from that flat line, how much would be the displacement? Okay. And that would depict the way things are. So whether it's a heart or anything out there, follows the same. And the frequency is the number of cycles per second, and that's measured in hertz. And the period is the time for one complete cycle. So when I say heartbeat, it's one period, one cycle of completion. And there is a speed, that is speed of wave in propagation, how far going. So we can measure it by 120 by 80 if you are measuring heart. Okay, that's a basic principle. So diastolic, systolic is a name given, but actually it's a wave. that measures diastolic and systolic. Okay. So now we come to the classification of waves. So there are, in mechanical waves, we can have sound waves. And most of our ear is vibration. So there's sound wave. And the mind can then make up as this language and again put it out in a medium, which is sound. The sound heard and speaking is also sound. So there are how many types? So there is infrasound, less than 20 hertz. That means you can't hear them. Audible sound, which is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, can be audible. Ultrasound is greater than 20 kilohertz. That means you can't hear them because it's ultrasound. It pierces through the body, but you can't sense them. Then there are water waves. The wave on a seashore, okay, roughly is greater than 1 hertz. Ocean swells is minus 0.5 to minus 0.3. It cannot be even felt that there is a displacement. And wind waves are from minus 0.1 to 1 hertz. So that's a mechanical wave you can experience if you are sharp enough. You can go and see. And that's the reason when you go to seashore, there's a sound because it depends on the waves. Okay, so there is mechanical. There's a water displacement. Because of that, the sound comes. Your breathing has waves. Again, there's a sound, the breathing sound. It's again mechanical waves. Okay, and seismic waves. There's P waves and S waves, which means while Earth is shaking, seismic. So there is waves. It displaces. There's surface waves. It's less than 0.005 to 1 hertz. Very minute. It's shaking. So basically, the entire universe shakes like. It's not stagnated. It's not fixed. It's always in motion. So what we can know is everything moves. Okay, you might not feel it because you are part of it, so you can't feel it. And that's an illusion. If you are an observer standing in front of a train going by, you can say it's motion. But if you are in motion, and that is also in motion, that means it looks still. And that's what general theory of relativity is. So it's so nice to understand physics. Not that you have to believe in Buddha. I'm a Buddhist. Need not be a Buddhist. You should be a scientist. You don't have to be a Buddhist or anyist at all. You just have to investigate. So if two trains are running, it becomes still. If they both are at the same speed, you are in one train, you could hardly see the other train moving because it's relative. Why? Because of the waves. In the same way, this body is wavery. If somebody goes and does a Vipassana course and he gets to see particles and waves and he gets excited, physics, law of physics, that's it. There's nothing strange about it. Nothing got out of it. Says that, oh, I saw it, it's a wave, or I saw its particles. Stupidity. It's been there from day one, not that today you realize that it's particle or a wave, right? It is a wave been there all the time, all the given time, not one time, two time, all the time. So when something is in motion at the same speed, it's still. Okay. So when I see all of you, you are running exactly the same pace as me. So it is stilled. It looks still. So I can see you. I can talk to you. I can walk along with you because it doesn't seem to be displacing. And that's general theory of relativity. Because I can see it's absolutely seeing as though we met yesterday, we're meeting today, and we'll be meeting tomorrow, when none of those things are true. Okay, now this mechanical waves makes the mind believe that something is fixed, nityasanya, because that surface waves, as in this body, happening like this, can never be seen. But if a person gets Parkinson's disease, you can see this. Why? Because it's moving faster than the stillness. So you can see the person is shaking like this. Very strange. Oh, why this happened? Because of ripples effect. More the ripple, more of this. The lesser the ripple, lesser of this. But is there no ripples? Now, not at all possible. There are ripples. So then when there is a ripple, there should be some frequency. And it's always 1 hertz. So there's an energy displaced of ripples. That means you are just energy particles. And that's it. So matter, energy are interchangeable. And that's exactly what Namarupa is. They're interchangeable. Okay. Now we come to the next section, are electromagnetic waves. Whereas in the mechanical waves, you require a material medium without which you can't transfer information. But in electromagnetic waves, you don't require any material medium. It can be sent without any material medium. So the first kind is a radio wave. Not that radio wave didn't exist. It existed, but we didn't know how to harness it because we never tuned a device to 3 kilohertz to maximum of 300 megahertz. If you, between 3 kilohertz to 300 megahertz, anything you tune, you get a radio frequency. But there's no matter. It's just energy. And you have microwaves. It was there, not that it was not there, but we didn't know it. It was not discovered. So it starts from 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz. And there's infrared, starting with 300 gigahertz onwards to 430 terahertz. Visible light, what time light I'm seeing, is beyond 430 terahertz. That means if it is anything lesser, I can't see anything. No light. To 770. Then we have ultraviolet rays. Sun has ultraviolet. So if I go to Australia and if I go to Ladakh, if I go to Tibet, exactly the same. You have more ultraviolet. At the curvature, you get more ultraviolet. So Australia curves, so you'll get cancer. faster than anywhere else in the world. So if I stay in Australia for 15 years, the likelihood of getting cancer increased by 50%, as opposed to staying in India. Because in India, it's not curved. Here it's curved. Same thing with Tibet. It's curved. So it creates cancer. Why? Because more ultraviolet rays, which can penetrate into the skin without you knowing that it has. It's just like going and killing a bunch of cells. Okay. But then people go and stay there, especially Indians. They go to Australia and stay, which means their likelihood of getting cancer is more than anybody else because they're on ultraviolet. And on Australia, if you read articles, there's no ozone layer. It's depleted in Australia. Anyway, not that I'm trying to say you shouldn't migrate to Australia. You can, but then you're on ultraviolet. Then comes X-rays. And then you get gamma rays. That's the highest amount. So what this would do, it doesn't require any medium at all. It can be passing through your body, which you won't even know. Okay? So these are electromagnetic waves. So do you have electromagnetic waves right now as we speak? Yes. Passing through your body all the time. Then we have matter waves, which is about atoms, atomic. So it doesn't have no single fixed frequency. It depends on the particle energy. So it takes momentum. Basically, you are matter in terms of atoms. So then do you possess the same thing? Yes, absolutely. The only difference is that there's biology getting associated with it. Otherwise, it's the same. So there's a biological clock for the cell to disperse and die. Right? So then what happens? There's a T cells and P cells and this cell and that cell, there's so many cells. And they're programmed to die. It's not that you are dying or you don't want to die. They are programmed to die. They have a clever programming, much better than any AI tool. So at the end of 120 days, the red blood cells and white blood cells and so many other cells, they die. And they choose the time of death. If you didn't know that. Okay. So it's a cluster of cells called as you, not you at all. It's anatta that way because there is no you in any cell. They're just cells. It's just like a colony of ants moving everywhere. And that colony is called as villas. And that's it. And what does it do? It vibrates. The movement is vibration. It's basically just electromagnetic waves. Okay, and on the mechanical side of it, sound waves, water waves, and all that, just waves. So there's nothing strange that if you get to see wave pattern or a like in Goenka technique, people get excited about vibration. It's just waves, so absolutely there should be vibration. What do you mean I'm vibrating? There's vibration. Should be vibration. That's a basic thing. There's nothing special. For you, it is special because you're seeing it for the first time that it's vibration. And what is free flow? Then it's vibration. So if you close your eyes and watch your breath, what happens? You get into waves. Because you are a wave. What else will you be there? It's not that something special is happening. No, when I get phone calls saying that I saw this, I saw light and all that, obviously you should see that. What do you mean you saw light? You are light, so you should see light. What's strange? No, I'm saying some colors. Yes, obviously you should see colors because general theory of relativity says that there are colors. You will get colors because atoms have colors. So what do you mean I'm seeing colors? It's fact. It's a fact. Absolutely, it's a fact. And you either follow the scale of mechanical waves or electromagnetic waves because you have electromagnetic. Okay. Then matter waves, then we have gravitational waves in space time. Basically, everything bends. So you're bending towards the next life based upon how is your habit pattern, which is a wave again. So if I made a habit pattern of sensuality, it turns itself to sensuality. It's a wave. It's got nothing to do with it. Okay. So basically, if I see this wavery pattern, it's there in heartbeat, it's there everywhere. So that's the reason we call it as rhythm. It's rhythmic. And doctors around here who are in our group, arrhythmia and rhythmic. Arrhythmia means irregular beating. So he has to go to hospital. Why? Because it's arrhythmic. When something is wrong in his electrical impulses, which is coming to the heart. So it's arrhythmic. What does that mean? That rhythm, sinusoidal wave, is no longer sinusoidal. So it becomes atrial fibrillation. Right? It's fibrillating, shaking. So what do you do? Call emergency. 911. What happened? The medium is shaking more than what it should shake. Now, what's the medium? Patavi, earth, apo, tejo, vayu, and akasa is vibrating more than it should. So, what happens? Seismic waves, earthquake, right? So, this earthquake is happening on biology. What do? You take this item to the hospital and they will do what? They will bring it down. Something has increased, they bring it down. There's waves. Yeah. Now, if you go to the another way of seeing things, what I would like to say is relative to the motion. There's one train moving, another train moving. It looks fixed. But if you sit in a train and your train is not moving, but the other train is moving, but you feel your train is moving. If you watch this spectacle, in the same way, if you're seeing two people, if one is stationary and other one is moving, it might give you a picture of you're moving while he is actually moving. Okay, it happens. But you should be really mindful in seeing this. If I take myself to be this person, will not. And why it happens in train? Because you have no attachment to the train. You're sitting in a train and that train moves, you feel like you are moving. So there is a movement. When there's nothing moving, this train is not moving. So if you're detached, then you can see transverse waves. Vibration perpendicular to the direction of the travel. You're moving like this, another person moves like that. You'd see it, you're moving and he's stationary. Why it happened? Because of the light waves, waves on a string, S waves, and so many other waves which give you that feel. But generally, we don't feel it. Why? Because our mindfulness is not there, or sati is not there to watch this spectacle. It happens all the time. But why it doesn't happen to me is because I'm taking that wave to be a person. That's the only problem. I'm taking him to be a son, or a daughter, or a wife, or a husband, instead of just a wave, because it's just vibration relative to the motion. So there's no person there. Okay. Now this is perpendicular. What about parallel to the direction of travel? Longitudinal waves. Sound in air would be something like that. Now, seismic waves like P waves and S waves. S waves will be transverse waves, and the P waves will be longitudinal waves because they're running parallel to the event. Now, what happens to this? If it was transverse, which is going perpendicular, this is going parallel, what happens? When things goes perpendicular, you see it as transversing it, changing the pace. Whereas if you're going longitudinal waves, it might look stationary. So the sound on air seems stationary to your ear. So then you can make out the sound and tell the person by speaking. Then you have surface waves, which are mixed of transverse and longitudinal, like water waves and all kind of surface waves. Now, what's the behavior of the wave? It's progressive. That means energy moves from one place to another without any hindrance. Even if there's hindrance, it moves. Then there's standing waves between fixed notes, like this, like guitar strings. Or if I take the singing bowl, that's standing waves. Pulse, heartbeat pulse is single disturbance. One pulse. How many pulses? So you can pulse. Periodic waves, sinusoidal waves, basically heartbeat, like that. They go through a repeating oscillation, just sine waves, basically. Damped waves, the amplitude decreases over time. You play a string or a blade like this, it stops. Interference. So they cancel out each other. So between two people, there's always canceling. It's called noise canceling. So what happens? One person is listening, another person is talking. So in between, there is noise. So in the communication management, they talk about this sender and receiver model. You can check on internet means sender-receive model. The sender sends the information and the receiver picks the information, and there is noise. Okay. And that noise will create interference pattern. So you can misunderstand or you can have different kind of understanding. But it's just sound. So you means the mind makes out a message out of a sound, which means the accuracy at any given point in time, even if I'm saying whatever I'm saying correctly, cannot exceed more than 70% on how you take it. I have given 100, but what you take is 70 at the max, if there were no disturbance. But if the mind is filled with something else, from 70%, it comes down to 40 or 30%. And most of the time, we hear only 10%. And the 90% is guesswork. And hence we miscommunicate. And because of that, the other party, that is, party A has sent the information, but the party B misunderstands and pushes the misunderstanding on A because he didn't understand or she didn't understand. He pushes back to A that you made me misunderstand. And the ego develops. But if you know it's just a wave, there is no ego. It's just a sound. And that's the reason Buddha says, dhite dhite mattam bhavisati. Very simple. He's using physics. Mute mute mattam bhavisati. Sute sute mattam bhavisati. Vinyate vinyate mattam bhavisati. Because there is nothing there. It's just a wave. It's just a medium. So why are you fighting over a medium? Just because you created a language doesn't mean it's real. It's just sound. Still, it doesn't beat the sound. It's just a sound wave. Don't be too hooked up onto the sound waves. Now, if there is propagation of sound, movement of sound, we can have 1D sound, single wave on a string is a sound. 2D waves propagate over a surface like water droplets. Spreads. Now, that water droplet, a single water droplet, does not have convergence. It spreads. But what if another set of waves starts? It becomes an interference pattern. And that's what the double slit experiment showed, that matter, as in atoms, as in electrons, when they fire, they can know what it is. Strange. How can this work? Because it has ability of a particle and a wave. Okay. So the 2D waves, as a ripples on the water surface, can even multiply into 3D waves, spreading everywhere. And that is sound. So when I say I'm talking, basically it's a 3D wave. And light also same thing. It spreads. So you and I are just 3D waves. There's nothing more to it. It's just waves. And then if you can take extremely low frequencies and extremely high frequencies and everything in between. That's all what this is. So, can you see yourself to be just a wave and no one? And if yes, then you are in Dhamma. That will remove Sakkaya Ditthi. Because that's the truth. So, do you want Sila Pitta Paramasa by chance? Do you have any doubt that you are not a wave? So it doesn't matter whether you do Vipassana of Goenka or Vipassana of Mahisi Sayadaw, or you do a Vipassana of somebody else, or go to the Thai tradition or this tradition. Doesn't matter. It's still a wave. Doesn't matter whether you're Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Hebrew or this or that or whatever. Or even if you're atheist, doesn't matter. Still doesn't make you go out of a wave. And every wave has a vibration. Should be vibrating. And there's pulsation. How do you know pulsation? Heart. Simple. So next time you do your BP check, know that it's waves. And next time you see at something, know that it's just a wave. Next time you hear something, know that it's a wave. And next time you see anybody's body, know that it is a wave. That's all. So now we come to the Dhamma. We just spoke on physics. Now we'll see what Buddha has to say on this. Okay, it'll be most interesting now. So, if you see the solid body, it's a combination of matter and energy, like what we looked at space time. It's just a process of accumulation and disintegration. That's all. So, what does Buddha say? He says, Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, Anicchata. That's all. 4. Okay. That's exactly what physics also says. It's accumulation and disintegration. So the body is not one single wave at a single frequency. It's a symphony of many interface, interaction, interference, creating signals and rhythms. So it's a complete packet and hence qualifies for quanta as packets. So when I see Ariu, it's quanta. Every blink his eyes make is a quanta, it's a packet of energy passing through the medium. And every blink I am doing is a packet over a medium. And hence follows all the principles of quantum mechanics, all of it. Not only Einstein's theory of relativity, it also follows quantum mechanics. And also it follows law of thermodynamics in terms of entropy. Okay, that's what it follows. So basically, an ordinary view, Nichya Sanya, is body solid. But when you sit and watch the breath, you'll find space. And what does Buddha say? Akasa. Then in that you will find Vayu. Then in that you will find Tejo. Then in that you will find Apo. Then you'll find Patvi. So body is mostly space. It has dynamic fields. That's energy. You see, field is nothing but energy. Just particles. Obviously, if somebody in a Vipassana course gets particles, Nothing to be excited. You just found out that it's only particles. And then it just waves. Because interaction between particles is done through waves. And that's the first thing you'll find out. Now, what's the second thing you'll find out? Earlier view was matter is fixed. And I find anicca. Matter is dynamic and consistently like this. It's unstable. And worst thing, it's uncertain. That means where this electron is going to go next is dependent on law of probabilities. And hence, Buddha Dharma is not absolute science. There's no absolutism. It follows Einstein theory of relativity. So it's relative to the time you're going to measure it. So now I find still objects are really still. That's my ordinary perception. But when I close my eyes and sit, I can see it's only atoms and molecules. And they are moving in vibration on a circular path, which is actually elliptical path. Wow, this is strange. Yes, it's just energy, electricity, energy, and motion. That's it. Now I find one body equals one thing. So I see Chirag as one thing, Ritu as another thing. But now what I find is there is no body. It's just countless interacting processes in a medium. And now I see sinusoidal wave. Or if I go and talk to a doctor, he puts that, and then he shows me 120 by 80. I feel very happy. My BP is doing good. So one frequency defines the body. But now I find, no, sir, it's all frequencies, all the available frequencies in this body. So I have magnetic waves, I have electrical waves, I have all kind of waves. Okay. Now, what's the level of vibration in my body at present if I were to measure? If I take a quantum level, that's the first thing, because we are talking about quantum mechanics. So matter has wave-like behavior and body contains this presently after eating, like what Ritu is doing, she's eating. There's oscillations. Every morsel she's eating has oscillation. Every morsel. So it turns itself into waves. Matter turns waves. Matter turns. So what I call as feeling stomach full, so she's saying that's enough, I'm filled, is nothing but oscillations. So I can measure how many oscillations she has eaten now. That's oscillations. And as soon as it is oscillating, it goes off. So Buddha talks four Dhamma. That is the first Dhamma, Kaya. So as soon as she's doing that, Kaya happens. Vyaya, Viraga, Nirodha. That's exactly what's happening in every morsel. This is at quanta level. It's a packet. So one energy packet going inside will burn it. Mitochondria will come and it'll extract. Then ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's the energy, your currency. How much can you spend? Measured in joules. You want to measure energy, joules. How many joules of energy you have? So on the packet of your food, they have written how many calories and this and that. That's exactly what energy is, right? This is at the quantum level. What about the atomic level? Electron occupied quantum states. The whole thing is filled by electrons, this whole body. At the nucleus, with protons, but the circling thing is electrons. So it's just oscillations. It just goes on oscillating. That's it. Nothing else is happening. As the earth is oscillating and the sun is oscillating, so you are. There's no difference. It's at a micro level or macro level. This is macro level, that's micro. At a molecular level, chemical. This is just chemical bond, stretching, bending, rotating. In fact, you have H2O, right? 70% of your body is filled with water, right? That means it is molecules, H2O. And if there is molecule, should vibrate. Absolutely, welcome to the world of vibration. If you again sit and close your eyes, you should feel it vibrating. Absolutely, what's so great about it? I don't know why people give me a call all the time saying it's vibration is happening. It's expected to vibrate. What do you mean? Because you are now going to molecular level. Now we come to thermal level. In the thermal level, you have random atomic molecular motion that creates heat. Your body has heat, and Buddha says usma. So it has thermal motion and heat fluctuations. So 96.5 Fahrenheit is good temperature. From 95.4 to 97.6 is treated not fever. And it becomes 97.8, 97.9, 98. That means when you put a thermometer, you find elevation. That means the random atomic molecular motion is creating disturbances. So it turns itself into heat. It means thermal, more thermal. That means the tissues are going to get burned. What do? You have to bring down the temperature. It's got heated up. So you take a paracetamol. Now, what does that do? It changes chemical composition. Because of that, the fever gets reduced. And what does the Buddha say about it? There in Tejo, if you read about all that he talks about Tejo, he also talks about fever. Now we come to the beautiful topic at cellular level. Ion exchanges. In your neurons to every part of the body, information is passed through ion. Now it's time, I think, to go through ions. I think I did not cover when I took it. Anyway, I'll cover it. If not today, maybe tomorrow on ions and molecules. Okay, so cellular membranes, cellular transportation is ion. You have got channels, your potential, and cell signaling. Just like electronic signaling of, like if you take OSI layer, which I was talking about, the networks, remember some time back, spoken about that. So the physical layer, this body, has a data link layer, and then it has network layer, like that. So you have layers over the layer on this for communication channels. One thing will not communicate in exactly the same frequency. It changes frequency to communicate to another layer, to another layer, to another layer, to another. So what I am talking now is at the presentation layer, how to present. And that's part of application. So I can't believe anyone here that they have not patched up their communication because it goes by layers. Okay, cellular level. So body contains cellular, electrical, and chemical oscillations, just oscillations, electrical signaling. If electrical signaling fails, you can't communicate. That means the entire cycle of communication is cut. So what happens? Blackout. The person faints. And when he wakes up, people will be around and say, why did you fall? He doesn't know. Why? The sugar came down. What do you mean why? What is sugar? Glucose. What is glucose? Energy. It came down. So if you wake him up, he'll say, I was good, looking good. I don't know what happened. My dear friend, what do you mean you don't know? You will never knew anything in the first place. So your conscious experience, what you think you are, is just one-sided. This subconscious layer. Nothing works there. And nothing works in that medium. It's just frequencies. So be careful thinking that I am there. Nobody's there. It's just vibrations. Now we come to the sixth one, which is even more beautiful, neural networks. Right? Nowadays, AI is neural networks, actually. Any AI is neural network. Same neurons firing. It has action potentials because of neurotransmitters and brain rhythm. So what happens? How does this process? There are many videos over it. If you're interested, you can see it. But in general, the neuron has electrical impulses. It runs on electricity. Your entire brain runs on electrical impulses only, just like heart. There's no other mechanism for it to run. It knows only electrical impulses. But when it comes to the end of that neuron, there is a gap. And that gap is synapse, axon. That is synapse. To connect to the next neuron, it has to pass an information which requires chemicals. So it turns itself biological, where the neurotransmitter gets associated with it. Can be dopamine, can be serotonin, can be oxytocin, can be whatever. Okay, if it is a sympathetic nervous system, it can be um, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and other things, including cortisol. Now, its communication is happening between the amygdala, which looks at the information, and the hippocampus, where the memory is stored. So, based upon that, it will act and sends the next signal. So, in the next neuron, that particular thing attaches to this synapse and connects. When this and this connect over a network like this, it seems that it is one single, but it's just network rhythm. It's a dance. There is no real thing happening. It's just a movement from sympathetic, parasympathetic, sympathetic, parasympathetic. That's all it knows. It doesn't know anything else. Depending upon the state of your sight or sound or taste or touch, smell. The brain decides where to focus it, where to push it. And this cranial nerves, there are 12 of them, which I have not covered so far, decide. Some are motor nerves, that means it does an action. Some of them are not motor. That means they just pass information to the brain and waits for the brain to say what to be done. Okay? As an example, in vagus nerve, it does both. And hence it's most important because it drives the whole mechanism. So yesterday I was seeing a video from Wim Hof technique. Okay. I think yesterday my wife was also saying is that I had one student who died recently last year by drowning. We remembered he would have done the Wim Hof technique of stopping breath inside cold water, and that hypoventilation will make the vagus nerve work more, which will give you more strength to tolerate the cold. If you look for Wim Hof, you'll get a lot of videos he's showing on ice and other things. So we remembered because he being a Norway person, he knows to swim, he loves swimming. So he would have done something like that. But anyway, coming back to this topic, is because of neural network. The vagus network, the vagus nerve, which is now the part of the study in many places to activate vagus nerve, to remove inflammation in the body. Majority of inflammation is caused by cytokines, which is part of white blood cells. They fight, thinking that there's something there. So vagus nerve will say, hey, stop. There's nobody there. You don't have to get excited. Hold on. So if you have body aches all the time, it means your immune is on an overdrive. And why it is on an overdrive? Because of the neurotransmitter. So one should visit some psychiatrist or psychotherapist and all of these people because your brain is going crazy of some trauma. Yeah. And Aryu has seen some of his students going hyper recently on his retreat. And he started pulling them from their emotions. So what happens? They come into a state which is driven by sympathetic nervous system. Okay. So I had asked one of his students to look at me to just calm her down through my hand. So the waves can be sent over the medium. That means this medium is what? This medium is a monitor here. No, need not be. It can traverse perpendicular. It can go. So what happens if she starts looking at me? There's an eye-to-eye contact. So the neuron firings reduces, bringing her into parasympathetic mode. So it stopped. And Aryu was very happy. Oh, he is working. No, nothing I did. I made her to, through my hand gestures and all that, I made her get into parasympathetic nervous system. So the neurons firing stopped. So what happens? The body becomes calm. And she was crying. She started laughing. Very fun. But how did it happen? Neural network. It was looking extraordinary. No, it's below ordinary, not even ordinary, because it's just neurons firing, nothing else. Now we come to the organ level: heartbeat, breathing, digestion, excretion, all of this process. What happens? There are cycles. The garbage collection is timed. And when the time is changed, the disease enters. That means what? It depends on sleep cycle. If you want to screw up your digestion, first thing you need to screw up is your sleep cycle. Sleep at all times. And hence Buddha said, don't sleep in the afternoon. You will change your sleep cycle and your digestion will take a toll. Because when you sleep, the digestive fire is closed. So then what happens to that food? It will rot. It will increase gas. And then leaky gut. Because the bacteria, you get bad bacteria. And what does it do? It cuts across into gut getting cut and starts leaking. And guess what? The sugar overdrive in the food will fill into the liver and then causing liver to become corroded. That corrosion increases, and that's all is called as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And please remember, we have all kind of chemical elements in our body, which I showed you: hydrogen, helium, lithium that day. So if iron is there, what does it do? You know what it happens, right? What happens outside happens inside. So if you think you're really there, no, it's a process. Don't spoil the process. It has a specific timing. Digestion has a specific timing. It will tell you, eat at this time. Otherwise, what is going to happen? Piles. Why? Constipation. Why? Digestion problem. Why? Sleep cycle change. That's the answer to it. If you spoil your sleep cycle, you will spoil your digestion. Very important. Because these rhythms, if you change, your BP also changes, increasing sugar outputs. So your ability to consume sugar goes down. So the insulin spike happens. That means you require more insulin to digest the same amount of food. So always insulin is running. It's on overdrive. So the only answer to this is fasting. And that's the reason there's uposatha. Right? You fast. Every 50 days, you fast. Some people do overdrive of Ashtami, which I don't know from where did they bring it. Buddha never brought it. It is idiotic. you're cutting out the cell membranes. And some people don't fast at all. That's even more worse. So, what's the right way then? 16 and 8. That means between the afternoon to the next day morning, give a 16 hours break. That's all what you need to do. Don't have to fast every day. Or don't even have to do upasatta day. Just do 16-8. And from the time you eat, 8 hours. 2 meals. That's it. Eat slowly. Love the food. Fill with gratitude. Just like what Buddha says, that we have to fill ourselves with metta, maitri, karuna, mudita, upekha, and eat. That's all. Then what happens? The organ level will have a good neurotransmitters, which is oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, instead of cortisol. Don't talk and eat. Don't be on the phone while eating. It's radiation. You should know what's happening. Last one, whole body level, movement, posture, the all body rhythms, temperature, etc. It's just cycles, one cycle after the other. And hence it's called samsara. So this whole body is samsara, not you, this whole body itself. But if you take I am the body, then you are in samsara. So you be clear. That's the reason Buddha says, make it patavi, apo, tejo, ayo, akasa, because it's not yours. Nitam mama. What do you mean? All of this is yours? All the frequencies are yours? Come on, you should have some brains. So wave particle duality, just say I exist and that exists, is because of electron photons and interference pattern. Because we seeing a particle like and wave like, mind behaves wave like and also particle. Body is always particles. So when I see someone, I should know if I'm talking to a person, it is can be he or she can be either as a wave or as a particle or both. So even mind is not mine, right? And because it's wavery, it still has a frequency. So I can't take it to be mine. We'll take the other things later because I think then I have to explain everything about it. And then we come to the jhanas. So we'll take it tomorrow. Any questions so far? Or any comments? Did you understand that it is all what it is?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that, initially the way you explained that about even the waves and the sides and how brain operates at every level. I was thinking that what about those people, those who have a night blindness? Daytime they can see, nighttime they cannot see. As the sun started going down slowly, and when there is a darkness, they cannot see. So how it operates? I mean, it's just a curiosity, I mean, there must be explanation medical, but as a non-medical person, very curious because everything what you said, I can relate across the people whom I met. Thank you.
Sure. So the thing is like this, if something is amiss, something will get compensated for that. Let's say there's a blind person, then other senses will compensate for it. So the skin will know what the eyes would have done. It will compensate. If somebody is deaf, the remaining things will compensate. So if you're saying night blinded person, there's a compensation. And that compensation is again based upon the vibration. So his or her frequency would be different. So whatever I said on radio waves to everything, we need to see medically and also scientifically what is that which is vibrating at what frequency. Unless we know that, it would look surprising. But when you know that it is a frequency, at that frequency things are working, then that surprise is gone. So hopefully somebody will find an instrument that can tell, like infrared, uh, what we have cameras, so it can show you the displacement of heat between in the body. In the same way, if you have a frequency cameras and it can track the frequency between a night blinded person versus a normal person, and you can see which frequency that body is running, so that the cognition can happen. I hope I
Thank you, sir.
answered. Okay. So, last comment before we close is body is not truly solid in a naive sense. We are naive people, meaning we are very innocent. Okay? It's a collection. And that is what the meaning of body means. You just check on the net what is body, it's collection. And kaya means collection. So the rupa is a collection. And a collection cannot be a self. Rupam anatta. And the collection should have vibrations. Yes, there is. So it's a process. Yes. And hence it's anicca. No process is stable. Okay? Anatta, you understood. Anicca, you understood. And many systems interact together to form a particular event. So this holding on to it is dukkha, that you are controlling it. No, it is patisamutpada. Then there is no fixed independent essence. Asara. Heat, motion, thermal causes aging and decay. Kaya dhamma, vaya dhamma, viraga dhamma, nirodha dhamma. Appearance and disappearance is perception, which is sanya. Right? So the body is not stable, not fixed, but is dynamic. It has wave motions and rhythm. And matter throws out wave-like spectrum and behavior. And because there is biology on chemistry, it adds electrical, chemical, and thermal rhythms. Specific causes and condition shape the body. And seeing this clearly weakens attachment. And hence you are a sotapanna. And now onwards, you'll see Rupa is changing, conditioned, breaking, and it's not self. That's it. The remaining part we'll do tomorrow. Hope it was interesting to you as much it was for me. Yeah, any questions, any comments, any suggestions for tomorrow? Tomorrow we will see this muse, which Aryu had given to me. Okay. And if I could show you this chart here, it talks about delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha, beta, theta, gamma, and delta. There's 5 waves. And tomorrow we'll take all of those because brain is just a wave. Yep. And what muse he has given this one as a gift has all of it. I think, you still have muse with you?
Yeah, I do, but I haven't been using it.
You haven't been using it. Now I might get Muse Athena. Muse S Athena. It's a band here.
A newer version.
Yeah, new version. So I was looking at it, and then Madhulika was asking me, what should I gift you? What should I gift you? I said, okay, bring this better thing, because that has a complete measure, including it'll measure your prefrontal cortex, blood coming into the prefrontal cortex, which is more interesting. So it is much better than this stuff. So maybe I'll bring it to US and we can try it out and see how your brain waves work. But before that, you need to know, we still have some time. So I'll finish this brain waves so that I can. Yeah, Ritu, you wanted to ask me something. You finish it.
Sir, I just wanted to say it was quite interesting and you explained it very well.
Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you.
So when you start meditating, when you close your eyes, and if you were to put this band thing, it tells you starts with an alpha wave frequencies. Okay, it gives you a relaxed wakefulness, starting it to 8 to 12 hertz, the waves. It means it's wakeful. So let's say whatever I did before this call, I'll read out what it says, how I did it, whatever I did it. So give me a moment, I'll bring this up. Okay, what this guy is saying is that my reading at present from 8 o'clock to whatever time I did is that blue thing, what I showed you is alpha wave. Okay. So it's relaxed wakefulness. Okay. It's calm. It's inward attention, not sleepy. So if I want to do anapanasati with this, it should be in alpha and theta and delta waves. So it looks like it's stabilizing. So if I go back and see what the delta wave will do is 0.5 to 4 hertz, deep sleep, slow waves. So it should be lower. That means you don't go to sleep. Otherwise, the delta waves, if it increases, it goes to deep sleep. And theta waves, which are from 4 to 8 hertz, would make it drowsy. That's why the reason it's called thinamida, meditative drowsiness, meaning you're meditating, but you're drowsy. That means some people will come out and say blank. The blanked out is because of theta waves, because it goes into hippocampus, which is memory related states. So it blanks out everything. And beta waves, if you have too much of beta waves, it means the person is alert and thinking, which also shouldn't be there. Not much. Should be gamma waves, 30 to 100 hertz, which is very nice. That means he's in sati awareness, because it's high frequency integration. Okay. So when we meditate, you should have more of the gamma, less of beta, delta very low, theta moderate, and alpha high. Not as high as gamma, but high. So that is awakened state. And that's exactly what this Muse band, what he had given measures. EEG, that measures the 5 waves. So why I took up this is that it's still a wave. Brain waves, but still a wave. Nothing to be excited about. These are the 5 waves, what you can measure. How does it happen? Neurons. Again, coming back to neural network. So if you bypass default mode network, then you can be in Anapanasati. Otherwise, it will not. Okay, all right. So should we then call it a day? Okay, so tomorrow we meet on the remaining part of this, and we'll go to jhanas. And why does Buddha say even that follows anicca dukkha anatta? I'm not saying you shouldn't do jhanas, but after doing that, don't hold on to the jhanas, because it will also have the same effect. And then what is Nirodha Samapatti from science perspective? We'll see that. You can measure it. And then what's the frequency of Nibbana? If there were. I'll use that. If there were, what it would be. Okay. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.